All right. I think we are starting and people are trickling in. Welcome, everybody. I am Jordan with Laundromat Resource, and I have got some fun people with you, with me, with us today that we're going to hang out and talk as people kind of trickle in. Drop in the chat who you are, where you're from, maybe like where you're from in the world. That's always one of my favorite things. It's cool to see where everybody's from. So maybe throw in the chat there where you're at in the world. And let's see if we're, we're covering, we got coasts covered. You guys, Gilly and Nick, you guys are on the East Coast. I got the West Coast covered. No, where are you at?
I'm in
Gilly?
the Bay. I'm in the Bay.
Oh, that's right. We've got the West Coast covered.
We got the West Coast.
That's what I'm talking about. West Coast domination right now.
That's right.
I like that. All right. Welcome, guys. You guys are still trickling in. I am, again, Jordan. And throw in the chat where in the world you are, if you can. Last time we had some trouble with the chat, so maybe make sure. Oh, there we go. Okay. Indianapolis. All right. That's Midwest, right? Indianapolis? Midwest?
Oh, yeah.
Northern Midwest.
As far as people
know. It's the crossroads of America, Jordan.
The crossroads of America. Is it?
It is.
I thought maybe like Memphis, St. John, Indiana. Look at Indiana's representing hard right now. Wow. I like that. All right. All right. Keep letting us know where you're from, because it's really cool for you guys to also connect in the chat. So if you see people who are maybe in your area, maybe reach out to them in the chat as we talk. While you guys are letting me know where you're at in the world, let me introduce who I got with you, or with us, all of us today. First of all, we got Gilly, and Gilly is the Chief Product Officer of Sense. I'm gonna read this bio because it's just impressive. It's just like, I just feel inspired. Co-founder and Chief Product Officer of Sense, Gilly is a product leader with a passion for building companies from the ground up and experience in scaling products from the first feature to industry-defining businesses. That's like strong right there. Gilly's a seasoned founder, excited to see how the Sense product can empower and inspire the laundromat industry into a new era. I love it. What's up, Gilly? How you doing, man?
Everything is great. It's a little bit hyperbolic, but I really do believe those things. And I think that the conversation today very much so speaks to a lot about where this industry can go.
Yes. Love it. And hey, quick side note, since you're up in the Bay, I'll be up in the Bay around Thanksgiving. So if you're around,
I am around. Oh, let's do it.
All right. I love that. But here, listen, Gilly and I, we've done some webinars together before, and he's cool and all, but really we've got Nick Chaplot on this webinar, and Nick and I have done webinars before also. But real quick, let me tell you a little bit about Nick and his changing role, which is pretty cool. So Nick is the former CEO of Starchup, laundry, dry cleaning, pickup and delivery software platform, and he became the head of dispatch at Sense following their acquisition of Starchup in August. So congrats to Sense, actually, for getting Nick. I was going to congratulate Nick, but really, it's Sense who needs the congratulations. Nick co-founded Starchup in 2014 with the mission to empower laundromats and dry cleaners to provide a top-notch customer experience using mobile technology. He's long been devoted to supporting small businesses and brings a deep knowledge of delivery, garment care operations, consumer-facing software to the Sense team. And I can vouch for all of that. Again, like I said, Nick and I, we've done webinars in the past. We've done thorough tours. You can find a video of a Starchup tour way back on my YouTube somewhere. So we've done a lot together, and Nick is the man. He knows his stuff. How's it going, man?
Going great. Cannot complain. Thanks.
Yes. And how does it feel like holding up the East Coast over there? Like you are just representing.
It's a lot, but
a lot of pressure.
Last.
All right. Good. All right. So let's jump into this thing. Welcome, everybody. Again, if you want to throw in where you're at in the world in the chat, we'd love to see where you're at, and make sure you're connecting with each other. And then the other thing, I'm going to kick us off here in a second. The other thing I just want to say real quick is if and when you have questions, put those in the chat also, because these guys want to make sure that they answer the questions that you have about pickup and delivery, about the software, about, how their skincare regimen is, whatever questions you have. They want to answer those. So make sure you have those in the chat there. My job here today is to ask them questions and get out of the way. And when you put your questions in, I'll make sure that these guys get to them. Cool. All right, let's start off this. I think, most of us heard the news. Startup and Sense, they have become one. And can you guys talk to us a little bit about that? How's that process been, and what does it look like for both Sense and Nick, for you as Startup?
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's been a great process so far. We had a lot of synergies and between us. Sense has obviously a fantastic team, great leadership, including Gilly here. And the direction that they were going was really exciting to me and to the Startup team. And we had made a lot of progress, especially on pickup and delivery and dry cleaning and some other spaces that Sense was and is getting into. And so the combination of our expertise in those spaces and the direction and the jet fuel behind what Sense is doing just made it kind of a no-brainer for everybody. So it was very exciting to get that done.
Yeah. The only thing I'll add to that is I do think that the synergies are twofold, right? The first piece is on the product, sure, where we're trying to take this product, how we kind of see the different, how we kind of see this industry, the challenges facing the industry, and what technology is needed to help take that industry to the next level. But also just on a personal level, when we started to work with Nick and team, it was just so clear that we kind of saw those challenges in a very, very similar way, and we can approach them and attack them together. So it's been excellent.
That's awesome. Well, I think it's very exciting for the industry, really, just to have you guys teaming up and, by your powers combined, you know what I mean? Like having, just these two kind of superpowers coming together. And I'm always on the lookout for what is good for laundromat owners, the independent owner operator. And I think that this is one of those things where, since you guys have been going in a great direction for a while, and you're putting a lot of time, resources, energy, effort into really trying to take things to the next level. And Nick, you've been running that game for a while now, I guess since 2014, right? And have been doing awesome stuff. And I think of, guys like Mark Vlaskamp in the fold, who've been just killing it on your platform and huge advocates for what you've done, and coming together is pretty cool. So super excited about that. But, I also want to jump into, talking about pickup and delivery here. So, can we talk about getting started? Like what's for a laundromat owner who wants to get started in pickup and delivery, how should they be looking at that? How should they be thinking about it? And then what are some steps to kind of start getting into it?
Yeah. So the laundromat owner should be thinking about, what kind of delivery service do they want it to ultimately be? I think that's the first question. If you want it to be, as you mentioned, the fold, Mark Vlaskamp, their size and scale, that's a totally different direction than I want to be able to offer pickup and delivery to my customers, but I'm not sure that I want to have to support a large fleet of drivers or, get into that side of things, which is, why one reason why Sense is such a great solution, because you can go either way, especially as we continue to move down the path that we're going down. If you want to build a huge scaled operation for pickup and delivery, you're going to want to start with a smaller sort of tactical approach to markets that support pickup and delivery laundry. And you're going to want to do that with your own marketing, your own team, your own driver, and grow it from there. And use all the marketing tools at your disposal to do that. But if you're looking at it more as just sort of a supplemental revenue stream, then you can use the DoorDash integration with Sense to sort of grow that without having to outlay a bunch of capital expenditures on the delivery expenses and everything that goes into building your own delivery service. So that's I think the first decision you have to look at is, what do you want this to be? And then you start taking the steps, in that direction.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think the only thing I would add to that is, who do you want to be? Not just what type of business do you want to be, but who's the market that you plan on serving in your metro? What are the price points for that market? What's the brand that you're going to go ahead and adopt in order to attract that specific market? And so understanding the type of service that you want to provide impacts a lot of things, right? If you want to do a really, really high-end, very expensive service, that might have a consequence on labor. You want to do something really quick because it's a college town. You want to just get bags of laundry in and out. You want to keep it cheap and charge by the bag or whatever it is. Also, really great option. So I think you also need to define what is the service I want to provide and to whom do I want to provide that service, and then the technology, like Nick said, should help you scale, right? If you're starting from zero and you want to dip your toe and then you want to grow and then you want to buy 10 more locations and have a fleet of drivers at all 10 locations, sure, you need a technology partner that can help grow with you. And DoorDash is one element of that. Obviously, it's a great way to go ahead and say, hey, let me test this market, see if there's any demand here, right? I still think even before you make that decision, you got to decide how you're going to price it, how you're going to do all those things. But DoorDash is meant to, of course, allow you to enter those markets. But DoorDash, at least on Sense, works in tandem with your own drivers. So you can kind of play those two off each other to allow yourself to start efficiently and start a little slower. Maybe not have a driver on the roads 24 hours, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Maybe start a little slower and augment that with DoorDash and kind of play DoorDash off of their own drivers. And that's really kind of the idea there of that integration as well.
Yeah. And I love the flexibility and the power of that. We've talked before in other webinars, about how you can use that also, and we'll get there, but how you can use that to test new areas, maybe new zip codes or whatever to test the demand for that. There's a whole lot of things that you can do by playing around with, there's operators who use solely the DoorDash integration. There's plenty of operators who use solely their own drivers. And then there's a whole lot of things you can do as a mixture of both of them.
Right.
I want to talk about that in a second, but real quick, I just want to remind everybody, hey, this is your webinar. Okay. This is for you. And I have 1,000 questions I can ask these guys. And these guys, I know both of them can talk all day long about laundry, but I want to make sure we're getting your questions answered. So, if you feel like I'm asking all the right questions, then just take your notes or whatever you're doing over there. But if you have questions that I'm not asking or they're not answering, get those in the chat, because I want to make sure that we're answering your questions, because that's the whole point of this whole thing. And real quick, we do have one question for you at least. I know we've never done this before, but I think there's a feature we can do a poll. And so we're just kind of curious so that we can kind of tailor our answers to you guys specifically. Those of you guys who are here, look at that. Yeah. Using technology to scale pickup and delivery. Are you currently offering pickup and delivery? So do you have pickup and delivery now and you're looking to scale, or do you not yet have pickup and delivery and you want to start and have a roadmap on how to scale based on this? So throw your answers in that poll there, and we'll tailor our answers accordingly. Okay. So, I think a lot of people, you mentioned before you even kind of go down the road of, planning out, are you going to use third-party drivers? Are you going to do your own stuff? You got to think about who's your customer. You got to think about how you're going to price things, all that stuff that can really quickly get overwhelming for people. So number one, is there any way that can make that process a little simpler. And number two, I don't know, like, let's say somebody books a demo and says, yes, okay, I want to sign up for Sense. Is there any like guidance that they can get from the people that they're talking to on these calls?
Yes. So I think that our industry in general needs to, I mean, not that it's not already happening, but sometimes it's not as productive as it could be, in that lean into the community, right? Like find people that are an example. They don't have to be competitors. They can be across the country, and lean into having conversations in this community on Facebook, laundromat resource, whatever it is. Let's go ahead and make sure that people have access to this information, have a dialogue, because there isn't one model that works for everybody in America. And that's just not because everybody's metro is different. That's because people have different desires about the business they want to run. People get into laundromats for different reasons. People want to offer pickup and delivery for different reasons. And so it's important to find those counterparts, those colleagues across the country that can help give those insights. And I think that's number one. So break down those walls, community over competition. I think those are really, really true words to live by, especially if we want to elevate this industry as a whole. So that's one. As far as getting help with understanding how to do it tactically and practically, absolutely. That's why Sense is here, right? Sense is here to be that partner to the industry, to help the laundromat owners succeed. Our fates are intertwined, and we want to go ahead and make sure that we provide not just training on how to use the software, but context into the different options the software provides to say, hey, some people use delivery specific pricing. Some people think that's too complicated for their users, and they just want to have a single price across the board. So how are different users on Sense leveraging technology in different ways? That information is also really, really important. And of course, as part of that onboarding process, especially with the pickup and delivery side, there's a lot of that knowledge that we share and connections that we can make with different operators that we work with that only do a DoorDash or have a fleet of drivers and so on.
Yeah, I was going to point to the network of customers that both Startup and Sense offers, and they're all, for the most part, very willing to meet with new operators and people who are looking to get started on pickup, especially on pickup and delivery, and have those kind of questions. We can help answer. We've got data on our end about the best ways to do things. What markets are better than others. And we can help advise, but really, you're as an owner operator, you want to hear from the people that have been there and done that. And we have, more than anyone else out there, we have probably the most scaled customers on pickup and delivery in the country. So if you want to talk to those people, we can put you in touch with them.
Right, and all of those people started somewhere, and exactly. So. Especially people running these fleets, like they've seen it all, they've heard it all, and that wisdom, is not necessarily gained in just a blog post that we read.
Right.
Yeah. And I know, Nick, for a long time, one of your biggest strengths that you have done with Startup was build up this network and having getting feedback from your customers and building and integrating, their responses and their input into your software, and just kind of creating this, culture of sharing, information, helping each other and all that stuff. And in sense, I know you guys have done the same thing. I see Waleed Cope in here, and, some other customers that you guys have here who are just super open to sharing about what they've learned in this business, and they want everybody to succeed. So I think that's awesome. Okay. So let's talk about, Waleed, the community has been great with Startup and Sense. Let's talk about scaling. So, that's the name of the webinar, right? Scaling. So, for those owners who either currently have some pickup and delivery and are looking to grow it, or who are ready to ramp up and starting, let's talk a little bit about, where is pickup and delivery now in terms of, have we hit maximum stride on, people who are using, this is like a layup for you right now, but people who are losing, what's that?
Peak PUD.
Yeah. Peak PUD. Have we hit peak PUD yet? Or no. Where are we at kind of on that scale?
No, there's plenty of opportunity, and
Yeah.
there are whole markets that don't have, legitimately quality operators operating pickup and delivery. So there's definitely a lot of opportunity out there. And yeah, even in the markets where pickup and delivery is offered, you can always find ways to do it better, offer, segment to a different market, go up market or down market, and service a different customer base. So yeah, I think there's definitely plenty of opportunity out there.
Yeah. I think there's plenty of mountain to climb, and I think there's mountain to climb above the clouds that we don't even necessarily see yet or understand yet as an industry. I'll also say is that cool, there's all this great opportunity to go out and get new pickup and delivery customers, right? But let's be honest with ourselves, saying, what is the barrier? Sure, education is a barrier. I'm not used to it is a barrier. Like they don't know how convenient it can be. So all those things are a big barrier. But I think two of them technology can solve really well, which is one is convenience, right? We need to go ahead. We live in a world where when you think about pickup and delivery, you cannot separate that from the other experiences of pickup and delivery that the modern consumer has and the expectations around that. I know we have, kind of like long-standing customers that we work with day in, day out for years, and those guys are cool. They know you're going to drop it off on my porch sometime on Wednesday, and that's great. But if we want to go ahead and also start climbing that mountain and bring on a new cohort of pickup and delivery customers, I think we need to kind of solve on the convenience side. I think technology can be a big help there, and really just lean into the experiences the customer already expects. And then two is trust, right? These are your clothes. If you don't like the salad you order, okay, no big deal. But if people, there's a hesitance, people that are not so familiar with this industry, people that are not so trusting in the expertise that everybody around this table knows that everybody in this panel has. How do we go ahead and bridge that trust? How do we go ahead and expose transparency, what's happening with their clothes? Give them true ability to have control over their preferences, how their clothes are going to be managed, what's going on at any given moment, communicate back and forth around those orders. I think those are things that can really help draw in a new cohort, say, hey, that is an option that I would use. And I think we're seeing that more and more and more. And we're seeing a lot of the operators depend on those sorts of features because they're so meaningful to their customer.
Yeah. And one of the things that talking about building trust, one of the things that I think is can help really build that trust. I mean, you talk about the transparency, which I think is spot on and great. But another thing is, if you can demonstrate that you care about their laundry more than they care about their laundry, right? And there are varying degrees. Like if you talk to my family, like we really don't care. About our use whatever deterrent, like we just don't care. But then there's other people who really care and really have preferences. And then there's other people who need certain preferences, because they have allergies or whatever. Right. And so if you can demonstrate to them that you care about their laundry even more than they care about their laundry by strategically thinking through, and doing that collectively together with the community, going back to what we were talking about earlier. If you can demonstrate that, that's going to build a whole lot of trust, because if somebody cares about my laundry more than I do, then I'm going to give it to them and I'm not going to worry about it because I know they care about it. Right. And I think of Waleed, this is a Waleed show, I guess, today, but think of Waleed and all the little touches that he puts, on his pickup and delivery, orders, just to kind of, it's the little things, right, that matter. And adding those little touches really, really communicates, hey, we care about your laundry. We want to make sure, yes, clean, dry, and folded is like baseline. And then how can we just a little bit more than that to demonstrate, hey, we care about your laundry.
Yeah, I think that's such an important point. And I think that it's not just that we care as much or more than you care. It's that probably everybody on this call is better at doing their laundry than they are at doing it at home. Forget just the fact that the commercial washers and dryers are going to do a better job, but that we do have trained staff, right? The notion that a laundry attendant, doing wash and fold isn't necessarily being tipped at the same rate as a waiter, in my opinion, is preposterous, right? They're doing so much more work. They're bringing so much more expertise into that process that Waleed does an excellent job of communicating that as a brand, right? But going back to our original conversation around brand, like how are you using your brand to express that? How are we making sure that people understand not only will I do a good job because I'm telling you, but I actually know better than you, and I can go ahead and help you do your laundry. And if we can jump over that chasm, we create an indispensable service.
Yeah, and that communication ties back in, of course, to the software then. So it's a full cycle of, create a great service, communicate what you're doing to your customer. And if you have software that can do that, then that, makes it much more easier for you to make those communications and pass that information on about what you're doing. And then you grow your customer base, you operate more efficiently with good software. And that gives you more time and revenue to invest into more marketing, so you can further communicate that value. And it's a virtuous cycle at that point of growth.
Yeah.
Awesome. Can we just take a quick second and acknowledge how great of a job that I'm doing asking questions, because there are no other questions at the moment for you guys. So I am just spot on. No, but in all seriousness, hey, ask questions if you got, I mean, we're going to keep talking, but if you want more or you want something specific, put it in there, ask those questions you got. So, I mean, going back to like the brand and the touches, all that stuff, right? Can we talk about just some different ways that we can make our businesses look like a real business, like a reputable, real business?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question.
Again, I'm spot on, dude. I'm spot on.
So I think like, again, we're dealing with a modern day consumer. And so your website does matter. You don't have to be as fancy as Sweet Green or whatever, but you can have a really nice looking website without too much effort. And I think there's a demystification that needs to happen, right? Like, sure, people that are used to doing pickup and delivery are using one laundromat and decide they want to switch for price, whatever, that person is already used to it. But for people that are coming to your website because they clicked on some marketing campaign, make sure when they land on who you are, they understand what that process looks like. They understand what text messages they will receive. Now, there's a balance here. You don't want to overload them with information, but there is an element here that says, hey, how can we be transparent about who we are across the board to help demystify that process? And I think that goes a long way. Because again, there are different levels of laundry, right? I don't think that necessarily people are looking for some crazy luxury laundry experience. Some are, and I think that exists. I think people are looking for a high quality, trustworthy experience where they know what they're buying.
Yeah, no, I think that's it. I think, any way that you can communicate a higher level of knowledge about laundry, it shows the customer that you know what you're doing, and that you know things that they don't about what you're doing, so that your service is actually more valuable than what they're doing at home. So if you have, information, you can research this and learn about this and then communicate it to your customers. Like, oh, there's, XYZ that we want to let you know about this special way that we fold, or the special, way that we add whatever we're adding, whatever values we're adding to your process.
Awesome. All right. We got a couple of questions trickling in, so that's good. So keep those questions coming. Let me just remind you too, hit that little drop down if you can, and make your comments go to everyone so everyone can see your questions. I think it's on default, just goes to the hosts and panelists. So if you think about it, hit the little drop down, make it go to everyone. But Zarai's got a great question, which is, how would you recommend using technology to take your store to the next level compared to competitors in your area? Like what? Well, let's just say it. Okay. How can Sense help us destroy our competition? No, not really, but take our stores to the next level and demonstrate that professionalism, right? That reputable business.
Yeah. I can speak to that. I think that Nick can also speak to that really well through kind of like his long experience in doing exactly that, as a lot of the operators they work has scaled to these major businesses and really established themselves as the go-to brand in any specific metro. And I think that those learnings are really, really valuable. but I think that technology needs to always, like, I think that Sense today and the experience that the end customer is going to have through Sense from a communication and transparency, and they maybe similar to other pickup and delivery experiences I'm used to, is going to go ahead and bring you up a level. But I think the real answer here, and I think it's a great question, is work with Sense. Work with us to help define what that next and what that next and what that next is. Because the consumer is not the consumer, the end consumer, they want it now, they want it beautiful, they want it clean, they want it, all the things that we want to go ahead and create and take those experiences that we're used to in online ordering experiences and bring that to the laundry space. So how can we continue to work together to say, hey, let's iterate here, let's change this, let's update this. And long term, that's going to be what really separates us, is the partnership that Sense has with the operators it works with. But even today, I think that what we're striving for is an experience given to the customer that feels familiar, that feels really comfortable to use, and that can help continue to elevate us against some of the operators using Sense against their competition in the market.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I can certainly point to stuff that we've done over time. I mean, having a customer facing mobile app, having customer facing, account where they, that's branded for your business, that customers see and they say, wow, this is not what I would have expected from my local laundromat, or even my local laundry pickup and delivery service or dry cleaner, whatever it may be. And that experience, and then find the fine tuning that we've done over time to make it more convenient for the customer, finding areas where customers were running into issues, or slowing down, or abandoning the cart, or what have you. And we made tweaks over time to kind of fine tune that and make that experience better and better for the customer, with every new product release. And then the communications and ability to really direct communication to the customer at the right time, the right customer at the right time, the right communication, and be able to use data and triggers from the software to make those determinations. That kind of holistically provides a better experience for the customer, because then you're starting to feel that wow factor of, I was not expecting such a great experience. This is a lot better than using my washer and dryer. And it's certainly better than any other laundromat I've used before. One thing we've noticed, one thing I've noticed since starting it, since just how fast they are and how smart everyone is and driven to really move the ball forward. And obviously they haven't been around as long as Startup was, so there's some things to add, but the speed at which they're doing that, and the way at which they're improving, and I just watching and learning on that, and how fast they are, is what has gotten me so excited about where the long-term future is, and how quickly we're going to be able to get there together, and really be the system of record for the industry.
That was nice of you to include Gilly in the how smart the team is thing, and not single.
No, I was talking about somebody else, but
okay. Yeah. I mean, I think the speed is something that's impressive, one, but number two, I mean, we talk about the term taken to the next level, and that kind of thing, leveling up, whatever, gets thrown around a lot. And it's because I think, like, as an industry, we're down here and we should be up here. So we got a lot of levels to go. And so this leveling up concept is very relevant for us, because we've been sitting at the bottom of the stairs for a while and it's time to climb. But I think that speed that, you guys are moving at is probably the thing I'm most excited about you guys, just as a semi-biased, unbiased, I'll call it semi-biased opinion, just because, that's, like our customers who need things now, who want things now, like we're your customers, we want things now. So it's just the speed that you guys can iterate, and your willingness, and not even just willingness, but you just requested here on the webinar, hey, work with us, give us things to do, that's what basically you just told us, to give you work. to do. And so, hey, give these guys work, let them know what's going to help you level up your business. So that's awesome.
Yeah, we can't do it without that. We're not sitting here assuming that we understand how the different business models work. And one great, so I just wanted to make two comments just on that last thing. One is I think that like the reorder rate is a really important metric to look at. When you're looking at your customer base and how often they're reordering and what volume they're reordering, and how can technology really help you build that, because that becomes your ingrained customer base. And when you have customers that start to reorder on a regular basis, it means that they've now ingrained the value that Nick was just talking about, that they're getting out of the service. And to have that value not just felt fleetingly, but to be really ingrained, can really establish a foundational new business that you can go and continue to grow new layers on top of that foundation. Yeah, and then I think what Madison's comment here is great, but I'm not going to go ahead and go for it, Jordan.
Well, if you want to, I mean, I don't have that much to do around here. So, but if you want to do the few things that I, no, Madison, that's awesome. And hey, Madison, I'm going to shoot you an email even. So make sure you check out the chat here. Madison's running a mobile pickup and delivery using Sense, no laundromat. Okay, we got some Q&A in the actual Q&A portion. Oh, cool. Are there any, well, real quick, before we get into that, I just wanted to ask real quick, because it got mentioned and it's sort of glossed over, but what ways of communication are available through the Sense software? Like, how can you communicate with customers through the Sense software? Because I think that communication is so critical, right, throughout the whole process. And so what options are available through the software?
Yeah, so there are kind of the standard text message about order updates that go in. Some things that kind of separate us from others that we don't necessarily force, although you can force if you want to, when you're getting that delivery back. And so because we want to lean into convenience, we're not just saying, hey, this is going to come back on Wednesday. If you want to say, hey, this is going to come back on Wednesday, no problem. Of course, you can facilitate that. But if you want to say, hey, this is going to come back on Wednesday between 9 and 11, we don't want to create an abandonment experience where the customer is like calling, their significant, are you home at Wednesday between, 9 and 11? So we just say, so one thing that we allow is the text me when it's ready option, which is pretty cool. It's a nuanced difference, but it allows a little bit more flexibility and just a streamlined way to get the order through the door. And then one of the things that we're actually piloting now, and if anybody's interested in getting involved in this pilot, we're happy to kind of speak to, is how do we kind of merge a customer communication, like a real chat that is rooted around the order, but also rooted around that customer's engagement with myself online, whether that's through the reviews that I'm getting. And when that customer is engaging with myself, my website, my Google, my Google business account, whatever it is, how do we go ahead and streamline all that information to a singular place so we can communicate effectively, get ahead of problems if we need to? But also in the context of an order, how can we go ahead and say, hey, right, like, is there opportunities here to build trust, be transparent, and make more money, right? If somebody says, hey, you want me to add stain remover to that stain on the collared shirt? The answer is invariably yes, and you can charge for that, right? But if we don't have those rails of communication open, then we can't necessarily effectively do that. That can kind of not only solve for the transparency and convenience perspective, but also the upsell opportunity. So that's something that we're working with a number of different tools to kind of pilot now. And if people are interested that they're on Sense, would love to kind of dive deeper into that as well.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, again, I think that's so critical. And I think that's a pretty cool pilot you guys are running. So make sure you jump in there, because again, they want you to give them work. So go jump into that pilot. If you're using Sense already, give them more work to do. Okay, so here's a great question from Madison. Are there any specific value adds that Startup is bringing to Sense? Anything new, upgraded, taken out from Sense because of the merger there?
So I would say when it comes to specific value adds, I mean, kind of piggybacking on the last question about communication. What I'm seeing is that Sense already has a great roadmap for their product going forward. And a lot of the items on there that their product team has already come up with, we, either had or had thought about or have something similar to that. And what's been great is being able to, from the Starcher point of view, being able to, bring all the knowledge and experience that we've had around those features, like what was great about it, what would we have done different? What is something we forgot to do? What is something that we wish we hadn't done? And really kind of help them kind of mold their thinking around that. But what's been amazing has been able to, the ability to see what the Sense product team has been able to do with those ideas. Coming from, we had a smaller team, we didn't really have much of a design aesthetic. And we have a meeting about some product feature, and then out of that, Laura and Dilo and Gilly and Sakib and everyone on this team like produces something that's like, oh my God, that is like 10 times better than what we had. That's amazing. And it's an experience that, we didn't really get to a point at Startup where we were able to have. So it's been just really refreshing and amazing to see a talented group of individuals take the ideas and the experiences that, I've built up over the last 7 or 8 years and put it into something real, and something that's going to be really game changing for Sense users and, the industry as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate that. I think that's important. That's like, I appreciate that's very, very nice to hear. But at the same time, everything that Sense does is on the shoulders of giants. And now with Startup in the family, that is a massive giant we get to stand on, because everything in software is a trial and error game, right, guys? Like, we've all seen it. We've all been beta testers of something or another, and it's not always right the first time. And we know that. I don't pretend that like everything that we do is spot on. But working with the operators the way that we work with them, and then working with Nick and the Startup and all the wisdom that has come through that, helps the sharp edge of the knife be that much sharper the first time. And then, of course, even sharper every iteration thereafter. So it is great.
Yeah. And I'll just throw in Nick himself is huge addition there.
Huge.
Yeah. Speaking of giants.
8 feet tall.
That's right.
He is pretty tall.
Okay. We got a few other questions here. So keep those questions coming. Okay. Well, we're going to get a little general here, but we can throw out some ideas. What do you feel is the best way to grow laundry pickup and delivery on the residential side? You got some quick tips for us? I mean, we could do a whole webinar on that. We have, I think, done a whole webinar on that, but let's throw out some quick tips.
Yeah, I think find a market, a small market, a neighborhood that is high income, and offers and is outside of your laundromat's walk-in zone. So you're hitting people that are different than, who are coming in. It gives you these quick win there to expand your market geographically. And then blanket that area with marketing, whether it's fence marketing online, or even just old-fashioned knock on the door, talk to people, put door hangers up, that sort of thing, just to get started. And you get a critical mass of people in that neighborhood. You start to look at commercial opportunities around there, so that when you're traveling over there, your driver or yourself, or whoever's doing that, is able to hit some more high value targets around that area, and you're kind of seeding that your eventual large scale pickup and delivery business there. And then you just kind of start to grow up from there. You look for other opportunities, other adjacent neighborhoods, or neighborhoods elsewhere. Even one of the great things about pickup and delivery is that it's not you're obviously tied down somewhat geographically, but much less so than you are with brick and mortar. And so don't be tied down in your head about where you have to go. Instead, think about where is your market, and that's going to be who's going to be paying for this stuff. And I think from a logistics perspective, and I know the question's about residential, but if you can find commercial anchors in those neighborhoods, that's really valuable, because that commercial business is going to be regular, possibly multiple times a week, and so that's going to bring you back to that area anyway. And so that's an opportunity to kind of find these commercial anchors, and we're seeing a massive amount of growth on the commercial side as well. Yeah, commercial might be lower margin, but it is much more regular, and it helps you survive, when some of the residential might ebb and flow.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, awesome. And I mean, we could get way into the weeds with growing a pickup and delivery. If you're interested in that, just connect up with Waleed and he'll talk to you for about 4 hours on it. So yeah, great question. Okay, let's say, if Waleed, I'm just messing with you, man, if you're still here. Let's say you have a low budget. What's the best way to get started with pickup and delivery? What's the best Waleed? What's the best way to get started? Pickup and delivery with a low budget. Any advice?
You want to take that one, Gilly, with the
Sure. Yeah, I'm curious your answer as well, but yeah, there's a number of ways to do it, right? One is you just go the old startup model and you're using your own car and you're finding ways to test the market, to dip your toe in the water to understand what the potential is before you go out and make capital expenditures on this, or before you start expanding your units of labor in the store at any given time. How can you go ahead and test it in a low cost way? And then the most obvious answer is DoorDash, right? So DoorDash, or forget DoorDash, right? A gig economy provider, someone that's willing, that's not necessarily a worker for you, that's willing to take a gig and drive something from point A to point B. Right now, DoorDash is a good example of that. And what's nice also about Sense is that we do give you the opportunity on a per ride basis to subsidize that pickup and delivery fee. So you can eat some of that as an operator to try to understand. So when you think about dipping your toe, cost can be a barrier to assessing the market. And so if you can bring that cost down, maybe you start with your delivery price, not as high as where you want it to go, but a really attractive get through the door kind of price. And you don't hit them with a high pickup and delivery fee, even if you're leveraging DoorDash. You can go ahead and subsidize that. And in Sense, for example, you can do a number of things where you can subsidize it, and you can change the subsidy that you give over time and kind of reduce the amount that you're covering from that DoorDash perspective. So you can go to see, like, is this a market that wants my service? And is this a price point that they're willing to pay for my service? And begin to understand that and toy with price as a great way to kind of test that out. Another thing, just throwing it out there, is your walk-in customers. Offer them deliver back. See what that feels like to that customer. If they get a text that's saying, hey, your laundry's ready, would you like it delivered back? What percentage of that walk-in customer base is going to be like, well, yeah, oh, it's $3 or whatever the price you guys basically set would be. I'll try that. I'll do that. Oh, you guys do pick up and delivery? Maybe that's a new way to do it. And then, of course, your existing customer base can be a mouthpiece for good, as long as you guys provide a good service, can be a mouthpiece for good for you. And so, let them also spread that word. So I think those are some ways to start testing out and understanding without any real major upfront costs about, can I do pickup and delivery? Of course, you need to be doing wash and fold, so you have some sort of process in place, but absolutely.
And I think if you talk to any of our big operators, you're going to learn exactly what make and model car they were driving when they started their pickup and delivery business.
Exactly.
They were the driver, and that's how they got started out. I mean, if you don't have the budget, that shouldn't be a barrier as long as you're willing to do the work.
Yeah. I mean, the coolest part of this industry, Barry, sorry to interrupt, is that everyone's an entrepreneur, right? Like, the idea that I would use my own car, like, it's not foreign to anybody on this webinar, because they all have that in their blood. It's why they got into this industry, because they wanted to run their own business. And so that sort of like upstart mentality has been really, really cool and inspiring from our side to see how these operators get it done.
Fun to work with too.
Yeah.
Actually, Daniel Logan just commented his. And actually, I was just about to bring up Daniel Logan's interview on the Lawnmower Resource Podcast. Go check that one out, because it's killer. And he talks about how he did that. He started driving his own thing. And then he talks about how he went from that to adding drivers and adding people to his business in there. But 2005 Acura TSX, what he started in. Go listen to his story on the podcast, because it's awesome. I'm going to direct this question about starting pickup delivery without a laundromat to Madison. Go check out, we have a resident expert in the chat there. So make sure you get Madison's email. It's in the chat there, and connect up. Okay. Oh, big question. Will we see a mobile app with Sense, since Startup has a mobile app? Gilly, maybe you can address that. Question.
Many schools of thought on this topic, right? On one hand, nobody wants to download another app. On the other hand, having easy access to my app, really, really valuable, makes the buying process really quick. right? So it's not something that Sense is ruling out by any means. And creating a branded app with basically the same flow as our web experience, right? From a technology, not such a massive jump of where we want to go, right? But doing it on web does allow us to fine tune that process faster, get it out there faster, avoid that initial, we want new customers. We want to climb that mountain of the new cohort of customers that are going to come in, that are going to come to Sense. And that customer base doesn't want to just download an app if they're a first-time user. So those regular customers, I think there's a lot of value in the app, and we don't discount that. And I think that absolutely Sense will have an app on its roadmap in the near term, not too far away. But right now we're seeing a lot of success with the web experience, a lot of flexibility, iterative flexibility with that web experience. And now, the front end technologies, the web technologies that we're all used to, are getting closer to that native experience anyway.
Yeah, and I'll just mention real quick too. I mean, we talked about communication within the app, and you just mentioned, hey, you're really focusing on getting those customers trying it out for the first time. Well, once they try it out for the first time, they're in your ecosystem.
Right.
And so, yeah, maybe at the moment, at least, they don't have the app on their homepage or in one of the folders 2 scrolls back or whatever, where it probably end up. But you can send them an email and say, hey, it's time to do your laundry. Place another order, send them a text message. Hey, time to do your laundry. Let us know when you want us to pick it up. Click this link. Those kinds of things where you can still stay front of mind and still provide the good experience, where they don't have to go Googling your pickup and delivery necessarily every single time to find that. So I just want to throw that out there too. Anything else to add?
And make the reorder process super easy, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Gilly, you're back. You want the same thing as you got last time? Cool. So just making that really seamless as well.
Yeah. Okay. We already kind of talked about communicating with the clients. So, you mentioned apps are on the roadmap. So what else is on the roadmap coming up, for Sense?
Great. So there's a lot of things are on the roadmap, but I'll try to focus this in the area that we've kind of labeled dispatch, right? Because we want to think about it a little bit beyond pickup and delivery, and really focus on what does it mean to have a suite of products that I can holistically run a profitable and efficient pickup and delivery business. And whether that business is deeply ingrained with my walk-in, my wash and fold, my self-serve, or whether that's a mobile operator that's running it, running around, doesn't own a laundromat, and in leveraging other commercial properties to go ahead and facilitate the laundry. And so on the roadmap, number one is a totally redone driver app, which is currently underway. We have a driver app. It's great. I think it's easy to use, but we're really diving into, and here's the coolest thing about this industry, is that there's nothing more real world than laundry, right? And the real world comes at you with all sorts of challenges that you can't expect when you're kind of designing software or whatever. And so going back to our process, of course, we come out with something, we learn from that, we come out with the next. So the driver app taking a real major overhaul has been great. And working with Nick on that has been just incredible. Really helped make that fine-tuned decision that really, I think it's going to be a great driver app, industry-changing driver app. And then the other pieces on that is really giving that a better bird's eye view, right? We have lots of ways to get the job done, make sure that the in-store attendants need to know exactly what they need to know about pickup and delivery. The drivers know exactly what to do. But you guys, we want to go ahead and allow you to zoom out and really understand not just where my drivers are at any given time, but strategically over time, what's happening with my pickup delivery, where are my ebbs and flows? Because if we start really doing this and hiring vans and wrapping vans and paying for gas and all these things, it can become a major expense, which is awesome, because if it's a major expense, hopefully it's a major revenue driver. But how can we go ahead and give you that bird's eye view, those insights, so you can make the appropriate strategic decisions to make that even more profitable? Turn off Friday because it's your low day and it's not going to reject, it's not going to, people don't mind Thursday or Saturday. Cool. How can we go ahead and bubble up those insights? Not just the raw number, but how those numbers change over time. And I think that's a big piece of what Sense is doing in that dispatch management world, allowing you to say, hey, should I buy a driver? Hey, should I buy another 7 vans? Hey, should I offer delivery in my Milwaukee location? All of those things are hard decisions to make, expensive decisions to make, and Sense should be your source of truth.
Yeah, we're doing the driver app, the designs and the everything that we've been doing to get ready to start building that has been extremely fun and helpful, and the ability to see, we at Startup we were a little fenced in with what we could do with the driver app at a certain point, and to see what the team at Sense has come together with for their driver app and where it's going. It's like everything that I wanted to get into the Startup driver app but didn't have the ability to do, or didn't have the time or the what have you. It's going to be so cool and amazing to see that sort of that vision that we've had, but also the ability to really execute on it that the Sense team has. I'm super excited to see that.
All right, rapid fire, because we got like 5 minutes left. We got a few questions left here. If you have any other questions that haven't been asked or answered yet, throw them in either the chat or the Q&A, and I'll make sure we get to them. Will Sense be adding a client map feature that Startup has? I mean, I think it was a pretty cool feature that you guys had there. Are we incorporating that into Sense? What's that looking like?
Yeah, we have a nice little drawing of it ready to implement. Gilly knows what I'm talking about.
Yes, absolutely. It's huge. I think it's valuable. I think it's a great way to visualize. It's part of that strategic insights that I spoke to, where people can really understand exactly what's happening on a day, over a week, and so on.
Awesome. Client map, pretty cool. Okay, I'm thinking of expanding into dry cleaning at my laundromat. Can you speak to managing dry cleaning on the Sense platform? Great question.
Yeah, it's a big area of focus for us. Not necessarily connected to pickup and delivery, but obviously intertwined with pickup and delivery. Sense started with a focus on laundry and laundromats with some loose abilities to manage dry cleaning, and now we're really diving in to those areas. And happy to kind of speak specifics. I don't want to spend the time now. The specifics of that roadmap, what areas are we working on in what order, and how that matches with your business. So please do reach out. It's a big area of focus for us.
Yeah. Awesome. And real quick, I mean, just before we hit this last question here, I just want to mention real quick, I mean, there's so many questions, right? And if you're looking at starting pickup and delivery at your laundromat, if you're looking at starting pickup and delivery without a laundromat, like Madison, who is being very humble and saying, not an expert, but we know better. If you're looking to scale up your pickup and delivery, if you're looking for a software platform to just help you manage your business in general, I just want to throw it out there. Gilly has said it multiple times, but they want to talk to you about that, answer your questions, get your feedback, get your input. So our little link fairy, I think we'll put a link already with the link fairy emoji in it already. Man, so good. So right there, trisense.com/demo is the link to go check out if you want to go talk to these guys about Sense and about what it can offer. Waleed's getting crazy. Talk about being on the bottom step and having a lot of stairs to go. Waleed wants to know, are there any plans to incorporate machine learning or AI into the laundry industry?
Oh, Waleed throwing out the buzzword.
He's not taking steps. He's going like straight elevator to the top here. Out of curiosity,
the answer is of course, right? Like the world is moving in that direction, and we should all be leveraging, AI capabilities to make better decisions for our businesses. How exactly that's come into fruition is really yet to be seen across most of the world, other than I guess like chess games or whatever. But now we're beginning to see a big push in machine learning about how that can actually impact decision making, optimization, so on and so forth. And so, yes, as more and more AI, becomes more available, we will ingrain that into our software as well. And Waleed, I would love to know where you think AI could really move the needle.
That's what I'm talking about. The stockfish of laundry is coming. I love that. Guys, this has been incredible. Again, I'm sure that there are more questions to be had. I'm sure that there are more discussions to be had. So go check out that link, trisense.com/demo. Gilly and Nick, you guys are rock stars, and I I'm just going to say this about the three of us. This webinar, out of all the webinars I've ever done, probably you guys too, I'm just going to say it's probably true for everybody. The best eyebrows out of any webinar, all right here in this webinar.
Wow,
so
that's probably true.
Yeah, no, but guys, thank you so much for sharing.
Thank
so
you,
much
Jordan.
good stuff and so much good information. Appreciate that. And again, if you want to talk to these guys, trisense.com/demo. Man, can't wait to do whatever the next thing is with you guys.
Likewise, man. It's fun. Always a pleasure.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming to the webinar, and we'll see you at the next webinar in the month or two, probably.